20 charges. That's what the man accused of killing 3 Eastern Kentucky police officers and a canine officer is facing after a grand jury's indictment this afternoon. WYMT's Dakota Makers has more as the case now moves on to circuit court.
The Commonwealth of Kentucky's case against Lance Storrs is ongoing after a grand jury indicted him on 20 charges Monday afternoon. Those range from assault to wanton endangerment and murder. According to the indictment, he also faces 3 capital murder charges for the killings of Deputy William Petrie, Captain Ralph Frazier, and Officer Jacob Chaffins, as well as 6 charges of attempted murder of other law enforcement personnel.
I was in the mix of all of the gunfire, and I saw a lot of people who were trying to help others, saw a lot of people who were simply trying not to be shot, including myself.
Storrs did not show up for his preliminary hearing. This is because once the grand jury released its indictment, there was no longer a need for a hearing. The case is now in the hands of the circuit court.
We've handled several capital cases, and I've tried 2 to a verdict, actually.
That was Floyd County Commonwealth's attorney Brent Turner. He was asked if the death penalty was on the table. He says a case must meet certain criteria.
Some of those include more than one victim, which you would at least potentially have here, and also death of a police officer.
The impact not just on 3 people that he murdered, and make no doubt, there's no question about his guilt. He has admitted his guilt. There's no question about that.
The Commonwealth's attorney says the case is eligible for consideration to seek the death penalty. He adds his office is considering it.
And make a decision based on the evidence and the discussions with the family. We're not going to just rush out and make a decision on that any different than we would in any other case, even though I understand the public sentiment.
In Floyd County, Dakota Makers, WYMT Mountain News.
An initial appearance with Storrs and his attorney in circuit court will be tomorrow morning at 10:30, and of course, we will be there.
A dry and rather nice day around the mountains today. Plenty of sunshine, just a few clouds out there. It is a little on the warm side, though. Take a look at the current scene from London Corbin Airport. Yeah, just a few of those fair weather clouds. They've come up a degree in the last little bit. They sit at 86. Downtown Whitesburg, nothing but sunshine, and it's a toasty one out there. 86 degrees right now. South-southwest winds helping bring up some of that humidity. That dew point's at 66. It feels like 88 degrees. Temperatures around the region. Midland upper 80s. We've had a couple stations flirt with 90 degrees, but most of them have stayed with an 8 is the first digit there this afternoon. Plenty of cloud cover off to our north. It should be bypassing us for the most part, but the frontal boundary up across portions of the Midwest is something we're going to have to pay attention to as we head into the day tomorrow. For tonight, mid-60s, we're all quiet, mostly clear skies. That changes tomorrow. I've got the latest on the potential for showers and storms, and if any could be on the strong side, that's coming up in a few minutes. Steve?
Right, Evan, thank you. 2 local Floyd County businesses came together after that shootout in Allen to honor their local heroes. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox tells us how shirts have become a symbol of respect towards fallen canine officer Drago.
A dose of reality following a tragedy.
Without a canine, we're not as safe as what we are when we have one.
Turned into a remarkable strategy.
We threw this idea together and we were just so bombarded with it. I just knew that was my job and it was my place, and it just kind of was handed to me, and I'm very thankful for the honor of doing so.
Lou's Place for Pets partnered with Shirt Gallery to sell t-shirts honoring Drago. As of today, they have sold over 1,000, way more than they expected.
We ran a few just to get them out to a vigil, and were swarmed then, and it has not let up since.
Selling t-shirts to local residents, donors in other states, and even troops in Africa.
Mailing shirts to other states and other countries has been just phenomenal.
And they say the demand proves a t-shirt is more than just fabric.
It's not just a t-shirt. It unified a community, and it allowed people to show support.
All proceeds made from the shirts will be given to the Floyd County Sheriff's Department. From Floyd County, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
Lou's Place for Pets and Shirt Gallery say they plan to keep selling the shirts honoring Drago for the next week or so. The ACLU and the Attorney General's office have 1 week to turn in briefings before a judge makes his decision on a temporary injunction involving Kentucky's abortion ban. A temporary restraining order is allowing abortions to continue for now. The state's trigger law banning almost all went into effect right after the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. The ACLU filed a lawsuit against it, saying it violates the state's constitution. Attorney General Daniel Cameron says the state constitution does not give rights to an abortion. If the judge grants the temporary injunction, abortions will be allowed to continue until the case is heard. Williamsburg police officers are warning of an ongoing scam where someone is impersonating an AT&T representative. This is to gain access to account information. Williamsburg police is asking folks to be careful about who they share their information with. Well, like just about everything else, the price just increased for stamps. The U.S. Postal Service raised the price yesterday. A forever stamp now costs 60 cents. In addition to the 2-cent increase, other postal services will also cost more. Everything from postcards to certified mail to money order fees will also be subjected to rate hikes. The Postal Service says the rate hike amounts to about a 6.5% increase across the board. Kentucky's record-breaking economic momentum continues. Today, Governor Andy Beshear announced the state's fiscal year 2022 general fund receipts grew at the highest rate in more than 30 years. Officials reported a more than 14% growth over last year. The general fund receipts total nearly $15 billion. This is the second highest surplus ever, surpassed only by last year's record amount.
All these receipts show that personal income, sales and business income are all going up significantly, and even our road fund is up. My administration has delivered now the highest and the second highest revenue surplus in the history of Kentucky, thanks to strong fiscal management and a hot, record-breaking economy.
Governor Beshear says they expect the state's rainy day fund to be the largest in the state's history once the books are closed. Attorney General Daniel Cameron says the Kentucky Opioid Abatement Advisory Commission will hold its first meeting Tuesday afternoon in Frankfort. The meeting is open to the public and will be live streamed. The panel is charged with administering Kentucky's portion of settlements finalized with drug maker Johnson & Johnson and 3 major distributors. Half of Kentucky's $483 million settlement will flow directly to cities and counties for opioid abuse abatement efforts, and the commission will oversee the other half. Several newly passed laws in Kentucky will go into effect this week, including one that toughens the penalties for fentanyl dealers. The bill requires those convicted of trafficking fentanyl to serve at least 85% of their sentence, up from the current 50%. Also taking effect this week, Senate Bill 83, affecting transgender athletes. It prevents male to female transgender students from participating in girls' sports. Another controversial bill this session passed to establish funding for charter schools, while House Bill 252 will allow 18-year-olds to sell and serve alcohol. And finally, a law to punish porch pirates makes it a Class D felony to steal or destroy mail packages. A Lexington woman is warning others after she ended up in the hospital, according to a post which now has hundreds of thousands of shares on Facebook. Renee Parsons and her husband Justin were traveling from Lexington to Dallas, Texas for work. Parsons says she picked up a dollar bill outside of a McDonald's in Nashville, Tennessee. After handling it, she woke up in a hospital bed 5 hours later. Justin says local law enforcement told them they wanted to test the money Renee picked up for any drug residue.
But I'm trying to fight to stay awake because he's yelling at me to stay awake.
Other than that, there's no other explanation other than some random medical event that just, took place somewhere.
Just last month, the Perry County, Tennessee Sheriff's Office posted a warning on social media saying they had 2 separate incidents of people picking up bills that had tested positive for meth and fentanyl. The Sheriff's Office asked people not to pick up money they see on the ground. The National Prevention Lifeline Network is expanding its 988 suicide hotline across the country beginning this Saturday. You can call, text, or chat 988 and be directly connected to trained counselors. They are part of the existing National Suicide Prevention Lifeline Network. The Lifelines network has more than 200 crisis centers and has been operating since 2005. Well, more contagious Omicron variants are causing an increase in COVID-19 cases nationwide. Here in the Commonwealth, 37 counties now have high community levels, with nearly half of those in eastern Kentucky. Toyota is now requiring all of its factory workers in central Kentucky to mask up again. Public Health Director Scott Lockhart says masks may become more commonplace now that community levels are so high again.
Now that we are in the red again, masking indoors is part of the guidance and is recommended. So it is be great practice for individuals to start wearing masks again when they're in public, when you're going grocery shopping and so on.
Lockhart says this summer's increase in COVID numbers mirrors last summer's, and he does not see numbers dropping anytime soon.
Well, coming up, the latest from Future View on the potential for showers and storms moving back into the mountains. Those details are next. Plus,
a tight-knit group of businesses across the region are taking part in an event promoting small quilting businesses.